Will the Senate please come to order? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Awa.
Here.
Senator Chang. Senator DeCoit.
Here.
Senator DeCourt.
Here.
Senator Dela Cruz. Senator Elefante.
Here.
Senator Favela. Senator Fukunaga. Senator Gabbard. Senator Hashimoto. Senator Ihara.
Present.
Senator Inoue.
Present.
Senator Kanuha. Senator Keoho Kalole. Senator Kidani. Senator Kim. Senator Lamasao.
Here.
Senator Lee. Senator McKelvey. Senator Moriwaki. Senator Rhodes. Senator Richards.
Here.
Senator San Buenaventura.
Excused.
Senator Wakai. Mr. President,
Present.
24 present, 1 excused.
Thank you. The chair has read the journal of the preceding day and approves the same. Oh, are there any introductions this morning? Senator Kanuha.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, I rise today to recognize Peter Ho on his retirement as Chairman, President, and CEO of Bank of Hawaii, following an exceptional 33-year career with the institution. Since 2012 to 2010, his leadership has guided the bank to national recognition, including 15 consecutive years on Forbes' America's Best Banks list, while advancing innovation, strengthening communities, and investing in local talent. A proud Honolulu native, Mr. Ho has been not only a respected business leader, but a committed contributor to Hawaii's broader community. As he transitions, we extend our sincere mahalo for his decades of service and leadership. Mr. Ho, please rise so that this body may recognize all that you have done for the state.
Further introductions, Senator Inoue and then Senator DeCourt.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I'm sorry that our Hilo High School girls water polo team has left to go to the other chamber. However, you did miss a lot of nice introduction, and the songs that they had given was planned for all of you here, to my colleagues as well. So just to say that the Hilo High School Vikings girls, the water polo team, they were the Big Island winners of the contest that we had with water polo on the Big Island, and including the BIIF schedule. They lost last night to Kamehameha, unfortunately, but let me say that at the final stage of the tournament on the Big Island, they had a record finally at 10-0, but their last tournament, they went through 3 overtime to win the final and be here on Oahu. And as I did want to, Mr. President, introduce them solely, I will ask that their names that I have be entered into the journal, Mr. President.
When you
and
submit them to the clerk, so ordered.
And I thank all of you that you missed such a wonderful introduction. So when you see them walking around, please give them a nice aloha. Mahalo, Mr. President
Mahalo.
and colleagues.
Further introductions, Senator Rhodes. Oh, I'm sorry, Senator DeCourt, then Senator Rhodes.
Thank you, Senate President. Colleagues and members of the gallery, I would like to introduce my very hard-working staff. When I call your name, please stand to be recognized. I'm going to call on Melody Miguel. She is a graduate of University of Hawaii. She has her business degree. She came in with the intention of helping us with media, and we unpacked so much of her skills that she ended up digesting bills, really getting in there policy-wise, and I'm just so thankful to her. So thank you very much, Mel. Next, I'm going to ask to stand Kamohoi Sanchez. He's a Nanakuli boy, graduate of Kamehameha High Schools, also graduate of his business degree. He also really has just drawn so passionately towards policy. He has a very strong conviction to serve his community and do it in such a way that it advances our Native Hawaiian population, but just overall our 96792. Next, I'll ask Julina Feliciano to please stand. She is a proud mom of 5. She has her children that are students at Nanakuli High School. And this is a woman that not only helps me in the office, she lives right down the street from me. So when I run out of rice, I'm calling Julina, asking for a bag of rice. So she is a woman of many talents, and I'm so thankful for her. Last but not least, I want to introduce Reggie Torres. Most of you guys know him as Coach. I was so blessed to have him in my office this year. This guy comes with an incredible resume, incredible background, and to be honest, I was super intimidated with hiring him, thinking, oh my God, I don't want to tell Coach what to do. Like, I almost feel kind of like, yeah, whatever you like do, Coach. Yeah, that's fine, go ahead. But you know, he comes with skills, having been the athletic director at Kamehameha Schools, and then also he led as head coach at Kahuku for judo, wrestling, and football, who have all won state champs. So if everyone can give a round of applause to my amazing staff, we thank you.
Senator Rhodes?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a number of people I'd like to introduce. First and foremost, my wife, Cindy McMillan. Please stand. Thank you. Still my favorite constituent after almost 32 years. I have a number of current and former staff in the gallery. Mia Ogata, legislative aide. Please stand when I call you. And Sarah Thorne, committee clerk. Helena Beltran, UH West Oahu intern. Raven Sevilla, session staff. Jessie Faig, who's been my committee attorney. A special shout out to her. She's stuck with me for 14 years. I'm not sure how she has put up with me that long, but I'm very grateful for all your hard work and everything you've done to help me be a successful legislator. Also, I'd like to mention Emilio Borland, former committee clerk, Dave Nagaji, a former session researcher, and Chris Young, a former session attorney from the House. If you could welcome them all to the Senate. Mahalo.
Senator Elefante?
Thank you, Mr. President. Joining us in the gallery is also my hardworking staff, so when I call your name, if you could please stand to be recognized. I have my office manager, who everyone knows as Auntie Jan Salcedo. If you could please stand. We also have my committee clerk, Taylor Sales. And then our session staff, Kayla Okamura. And then joining them is Karen Kawamoto from Representative Takayama's office from the lower house. And Paul Woodson. Paul Woodson. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Further introductions? Senator Keohokalole?
The governor's here, Josh Green, everyone. I'd also like to introduce my really, really awesome and hardworking staff, starting with my dedicated high school intern, Greg Cachero, with his mom, Hazel Cachero, my committee attorney. Sorry, we'll do everybody and then we can applaud all at once, please. Tyler He, my excellent committee attorney, Elizabeth Matsumoto, assistant committee clerk, Bryn Jaffe, our researcher, Riley Jose, our awesome researcher in our main office. And then up in the back, Jamie Weisberg, my unflappable committee clerk, and Jules Peleholani, who's also been with me for all 12 years in office. Please give them a round of applause. They're awesome. And also really, really briefly, behind me, I'm told the Hawaii Clean Elections Coalition is in the gallery. And Daniel Wen, my man across the street, please rise, and everyone supporting clean elections. Thank you so much.
Further introductions? Senator Dela Cruz?
Thank you, Mr. President. Joining us in the gallery this morning is a group of interns from the Department of Labor Industrial Relations Hele Imua program. If you can please stand and be recognized. Hele Imua is a 12-week internship program for the state of Hawaii, which the Senate helped establish. These interns are working in various state agencies, gaining work experience in public service. They're here today with staff from the Department of Human Resources Development. And can the interns also, where's the DHERD staff that's here with them? Okay, let's give them a round of applause. Mr. President, I'd like to request the names of the interns and the DHERD chaperones to be included into the Senate Journal. Thank
When
you.
you get them to the clerk, so ordered. Chair Dela Cruz, I'm assuming that Chair Moriwaki was doing labor when you created the program? I just want to commend you. This is, of many great ideas, this is one of the best things that we have done. Thank you, and to the interns, we are grateful to have you and hope we are going to keep you in Hawaii. Further introductions? If not, Senator Dela Cruz.
I would be remiss if we didn't point him out, but I also want to acknowledge Will Kane, the governor's trustee advisor.
Further introductions? If Senator Chang.
Thank you, Mr. President. I see the Chief Justice of Hawaii, Vlad Devins, in the gallery. I also wanted to acknowledge the very, very hard work of our office staff. I see our committee clerk, Casey Shoji, and our legislative assistant, Zephanie Smith-Eisenstadt. Also, Ruben Sierra, our office manager. We're working around the clock this year. So thank you on behalf of the state and on behalf of District 9.
Further introductions? Senator Lee.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm very thankful and very grateful to have with us here in the gallery and have had with us all session our staff. And I'd like to specifically thank Danielle Evangelista and Kula Kukonu and Kili Roldan, who are all here with us. Please stand and be recognized. I'll just say, because this has been a new committee for me this year, Water, Land, Culture, and the Arts, that having their expertise with expertise in water and land, as well as international affairs with Kula's work, and culture and arts with Danielle has been invaluable. With one exception in the culture area, which is that Danielle has actually never seen Back to the Future. And so all my jokes and references that I make just fall flat. Work in progress for next year. But thank you, Mr. President.
Any further introductions? Senator Kanuo.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do see a member, which I will not hesitate to call out, of the former member of the lower chamber, Daniel Holt. Please stand and be recognized.
Further introductions? Senator Favela.
Mine will be quick. I just wanted to thank my two staff that I have left. One is a session, one is my office manager, community clerk, and everything all the way around, Matthew. And then I get my committee legislative aide, Carnation. Give them a hand, guys.
Further introductions? If not, Madam Clerk.
House Communication Number 885 informs the Senate that House Bill 1800, Conference Draft 1, passed final reading in the House. House Communication Numbers 886 and 887 inform the Senate that the House has reconsidered its action in disagreeing to the amendments made by the Senate to various bills. And House Communication Number 888 informs the Senate that various bills passed final reading in the House.
File.
Turning to page 38, advise and consent.
If there are no objections from the members, we will be taking advice and consent on consent.
Standing Committee Report Numbers 3998 to 4010 on Governor's messages for adoption.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have Senator Elefante?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Please register my no votes on page 41 for GM 636, GM 692, and on page 42 for GM 742, I with reservations. Thank you.
So noted. Senator McKelvey?
Thank you. Just on 692, no vote. Thank you.
So ordered. We have no votes on
Mr. President.
SCR 4008 for Senators Awa and DeCourt as well. Senator Fukunaga, then Senator Gabbard.
Thank you, Mr. President. Please register my no vote on GM 692 and my vote with reservations on GM 636. Thank you.
So noted. Senator Gabbard, then Senator Ihara.
Yes, Mr. President. Please note my no vote on GM 636 and GM 692. Mahalo.
Senator Ihara?
Could I ask for a short recess?
No objection, short recess. Will the Senate please come back into order? We are on standing committee reports number 3998 to 4010. Any other votes to be recorded? Senator Rhodes, then Senator Inouye.
Thank you, Mr. President. Please record my no vote on GM 692 as well. Mahalo.
So noted. Senator Inouye.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of the nominee for GM 742 on John Komeji. I had the opportunity with John Komeji to address and discuss the urgent challenges facing the Mauna Kea Stewardship and Oversight Authority, also known as MKSOA, and we're going on its third year. We were both in agreement the authority must secure experienced management and staff, specifically in the areas of planning and finance, to meet the critical deadlines established in Act 255 and House Bill 2592, Conference Draft 1, which passed the legislature the other day and on its way to the governor. Mind you, the passing of HB 2592 Conference Draft 1 had to be introduced as a vehicle for Mauna Kea Authority to lean on for direction. The MKSOA still faces the daunting task of drafting administrative rules and finalizing a long-term management plan before it assumes full governance. To succeed, the authority requires personnel who deeply understand Mauna Kea's complexities, ensuring that all diverse stakeholders maintain their access and rights on the Mauna. Under HB 2592's Conference Draft 1, we have extended the authority's deadline to December 1st, 2021. There were also opposition why we're adding another year. It is imperative they meet their goals by this date, or management will revert to the current oversight structure. I express my gratitude specifically to my colleague, Senator Dela Cruz, Chair of the Ways and Means Committee, Senator Rhodes, I'll miss you dearly, Chair of the Judiciary Committee, and Senator Lee, Chair of Water and Land Committee, for the passage of HB 2592 on conference draft. I'd like to also thank Representative Hashem and the House leadership for their support. As the chair of the Mauna Kea Stewardship Authority, the onus is on Mr. Komeji to demonstrate his leadership and guidance in helping the authority achieve its statutorily mandated goals come to fruition. And I'm happy that we were able to sit down and create a path for being successful. I'm glad that the governor is here as well, and just a message. Please make a decision in completing the appointments of DLNR and the deputy director, and has been acting for quite somehow in a position of this agency. As we all know, DLNR is the most active and the biggest DLNR agency as we know of, with 11 agencies under its guidance. So I hope, and members and colleagues, perhaps my colleague under government operations can look at the future of how long an administrator can be on an acting position for quite some time. So, Mr. President, thank you for the honor, and I rise in support with reservations. Mahalo.
So noted. Further discussion, Senator Keohokalole.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make remarks in favor of Governor's Message 514 and 515.
Please proceed.
Okay. Governor's Message 514 and 515 submit for consideration and confirmation John Itomura as chairperson of the Public Utilities Commission for a term to expire June 30 of this year, and then the full term to expire June 30 of 2032. Colleagues, the PUC, Public Utilities Commission, is charged with one of the most important roles in state government. Its decisions and operations impact nearly every household and business in the state. It regulates and oversees energy, telecommunications, transportation, utilities, and wastewater. And our residents depend on these services every day in almost every aspect of their lives. We're also faced in a time in Hawaii with increasing energy costs and navigating the transition toward our clean energy goals. So the PUC's work has never been more consequential. That was highlighted during those devastating February and March storms, and the commission led by its chairperson is responsible for ensuring that these essential utilities and services are delivered in safe, reliable, and resilient ways. Mr. Itomura brings the experience and steady leadership that the state and its residents really need from its PUC chairperson. He has devoted more than 25 years to public service. For almost 16 of those years, he served as supervising attorney for the DCCA's Division of Consumer Advocacy, where he advocated for Hawaii's ratepayers in all matters before the PUC. He also served as a Deputy Attorney General, General Counsel to the Campaign Spending Commission, and most recently as Executive Director of the Hawaii United Okinawa Association. During his nomination process, Mr. Itomura demonstrated a command of the issues and a responsiveness to concerns raised by stakeholders, lawmakers, and the public. Through that process, he's committed to emphasizing that electric utilities must prove the appropriateness of rate adjustments, updating the PUC's administrative rules for general rate case applications, and really working to change the culture in that organization so that they are capable of fulfilling these very important duties. He's also committed to exercise these duties independently and with integrity, and his career demonstrates a commitment to fairness, accountability, and public interest, which are vital qualities for this very important commission. Based off of our review of his qualifications and testimony, I respectfully urge the support from my colleagues of John Itomura's confirmation and nomination as chairperson of the PUC. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Further discussion, Senator Favela?
Thank you, Senate President. I stand in opposition of GM 692. Mr. Smith decision-making has raised concerns, especially I have concerns about the ability and willingness to uphold the mission of BLNR. One of my biggest concerns is the stance that he took on the Army's EIS retention of ceded lands in Po'akaloa. Mr. Smith advocated and voted in favor to accept the EIS. The EIS was ignored basically recommendations on the environmental impact laws. Many of these issues were identified by the DLNR staff. Board member expected to uphold the constitutional obligations under public trust. Board member must respect the rights and claims of the Native Hawaiian people. I don't have confidence in this nominee going forward and cannot support him. For those reasons, I oppose this nominee. The concern thing that I have, members, colleagues, is that this is a grueling EIS for Po'akaloa. The Army do not need Po'akaloa. They have all the land that they got from the ranch that they purchased a while ago. This is a want and not a need. Even though they say under security, we're the only place in the nation that devastate our Aina. Contaminate them no matter how close the people are. My concern with this gentleman is that he's also a developer. So I don't know if he's tainted. I don't know. I don't know the guy personally. But again, Army does give out contracts to developers in our islands. So we don't know. We can only assume. But why would one person out of the 6 guys, right, 5 voted no because of the EIS, showing that they contaminated, never ever followed the EIS from the beginning to now, for one person to vote in favor of the Army on them contaminating and polluting our land and going to be killing our future of our people. So again, that's the reason why, colleagues, I ask you guys to please vote no on GM 692. Thank you, Senate President.
Thank you. Further discussion, Senator McKelvey?
Thank you. Just in support of GM 514 and 515.
Please proceed.
I would like to adopt the words of my good friend, the chair of CPN, into the record as if they were my own, if you allow me that. And also to touch upon the fact that Mr. Itomura is more than just energy. He's got a great knowledge and depth on some of these other dockets and issues which we're facing right now. So I, for one, look for him to appreciate him being on there for his guidance on these many other issues, as well as towards a commitment in rebuilding the staff and the morale at PUC. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? Senator
President,
Kim?
So no vote for me on GM 692. Thank you.
So ordered. Any other discussion? Senator Ihara?
Mr. President, I want to note my reservations for GM 636, Denise Iseri Matsubara. I want to just note that the land board members are constitutional officers. They're sworn to uphold the Constitution and fulfill the constitutional mandates of stewardship and public trust. And while she does not currently fully understand those responsibilities, she has agreed to learn about the constitutional requirements and the underpinnings of the Constitution. And so that's why I'll be going with reservations in favor of that nominee. However, for GM 692, on Mr. Riley Smith, I will note my no vote. Unfortunately, to me, in my perspective, he did not conform to the constitutional mandate to protect public lands as the Constitution requires, and that's the reason why I'm going to vote no on that GM. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator De La Cruz?
Thank you. In support of GM 514 and 515.
Please proceed.
I've known John Itamura for a long time. He's a man of character. I would just like to impress upon him to really look at the dockets, make sure that they're streamlined, get them out so that we can really help the ratepayers and get the utilities back on track. So I'm really hoping that he can do that. Also in support of GM 740, 741, 742. For those on the Mauna Kea Stewardship and Oversight Authority, please get moving. You've had several years. You've had, several $1 million. You have lots of vacancies. We want to see some action. So I hope you guys will take this seriously and get moving. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Senator Richards?
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in strong support of 692.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've known this candidate for quite some time, and what we are trying to do is strike balance. What I have found in working with Mr. Smith, that he does bring balance, and his intention on arriving at a decision is through long investigation and analysis of what we're trying to get done. I appreciate some of the statements been made in this chamber, and I do understand that, but having worked with this individual for a long time, I know that his intentions and he takes his kuleana very, very seriously, so I'm in strong support. One more, Mr. President. On GM 742, Mr. Komeji. I've worked with John for the last several years on this, and what I see in Mr. Komeji is a way forward. He has truly embraced the term ho'oponopono in the true sense, trying to arrive at a destination with no preconceived idea. And we are getting there. I appreciate the concerns, but again, working with the Mauna Kea Authority, they're going to hit the deadlines and they're going to make it work. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Inouye.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do wish to vote on GM 692, Mr. Riley Smith, in support. I'd like part of the comments from my colleague on the Big Island, the senator from District 4, into the journal as if it was mine. I do had the opportunity of confirming Mr. Smith 4 years ago to be a representative on the Big Island on the Board of Land and Natural Resources. And I believe with his expertise and the relationship that he's had with the board, has been a tremendous effort with the diversity that we have sitting on the board. So I'd like to ensure that I will be voting for GM 692 Riley Smith. Mahalo, Mr. President.
Thank you, and I assume the part you want entered into the journal is the remarks limited to Mr. Smith made by Senator Richards and not the remarks with Mr. Komeji, since you already made your own. Any other discussion? If not, said nominees for governor's messages have been confirmed. Do we have any late introductions? Senator Keohokalole?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. In the front row, we have the newly confirmed chair of the Public Utilities Commission, Johnny Tamura. And then I don't have my notes, but there are just a ton of supporters, family, friends, and PUC employees that are here to support him. Can everyone for John please stand and be recognized? Thank you for joining us.
I think to Chair Dela Cruz's remarks, to ask them to clean the docket. Now that we voted, you can go back to work. Senator Lee.
Thank you, Mr. President. From where I sit here, I am unable to see who's in the gallery behind me.
But they are.
But I would like to do a late introduction and recognize those members of the other commissions and boards who were just voted upon. So if there is anyone from the International Partnerships Commission, the State Foundation on Culture and the Arts, the Land Use Commission, the Board of Land and Natural Resources, or the Mauna Kea Stewardship and Oversight Authority, would ask that they please stand and be recognized. And if we could, please insert their names into the journal at the appropriate time.
So ordered. Please rise. Senator Inouye.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I feel that I owe this person much mahalo for the work he's been doing as an acting director for DLNR, Ryan Kanakaole. Please stand in the times that he has been doing the work of DLNR. Hopefully, Governor, if you can hear me again, please make a decision soon. As you know, the Mauna Kea Stewardship Group is also an attached agency to DLNR, and we'll just have to do the people's work. Mahalo, Ryan, good luck, and to all the DLNR staff, love you folks for having to work with all of you.
Madam Clerk.
Mr. President.
Oh, sorry, Senator Keohokalole.
If you'll excuse me, dreadful mistake. I would like to just take a moment and specifically point out some very special people to the PUC chair. His sister Michelle and her husband Eric, and his wife Darlene. Please rise. Thank you very much.
Any other late introductions? If not, Madam Clerk.
On page 42, final adoption of Senate concurrent resolution numbers 50, House Draft 1, and 149, House Draft 1.
Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, I move for the adoption of said Senate concurrent resolutions.
Senator DeCourt.
Mr. President, I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. Said concurrent resolutions have been adopted.
Beginning on page 43, final reading.
If there are no objections from the members, we'll take final reading on consent.
Final reading of Senate Bill 3125, Conference Draft 2, relating to income tax.
Is there any discussion? Senator Dela Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in strong support of SB 3125, Conference Draft 2.
Please proceed.
From the start of this session, the Senate was clear that before we even consider increasing taxes on Hawaii's families, we must look internally to ensure we are doing all we can do to reduce spending at the state level. The message was simple. We must tighten our belts and live within our means while sharing the responsibility of fiscal restraint. This bill represents that shared commitment. First and foremost, this bill leaves in place the promised tax breaks from Act 46, 2024, for 90% of Hawaii's taxpayers. All scheduled standard deduction increases will continue, ending in 2031 at $24,000 for joint filers, $18,000 for heads of households, and $12,000 for single filers. The tax bracket adjustment scheduled for 2027 and 2029 for Hawaii's working and middle income households will not only continue, but get better. For joint filers who made less than $350,000, heads of households who make less than $262,500, and single filers who make less than $175,000, all tax bracket adjustments remain in place. Additionally, the tax rates for the two lower income tax brackets will further decrease in 2027, further increasing the tax savings for those households. Why does this all matter? It matters because protecting tax breaks means putting money directly into Hawaii's families' pockets. As standard deductions increase and tax brackets decrease, the withholdings taken out in each paycheck go down. That means more money in Hawaii's families' paycheck to paycheck rather than waiting until the end of the year to file for a tax credit that benefits them. Under this bill, a family of four making $100,000 a year will see an additional $788 in tax savings by 2031 on top of what the current law already provides. That's real savings day to day. All of this is balanced by sunsetting some long-standing business tax credits. These tax credits include the capital goods excise tax credit in 2028, the high technology business investment tax credit, renewable fuels tax credit for research activities, and the technology infrastructure renovation tax credit in 2029, and the renewable energy technologies tax credit in 2031. Tax credits for businesses cannot come at the expense of Hawaii's families who are facing vulnerability and uncertainty. This, along with reducing spending in the budget and only maintaining tax relief for working families, the legislature is looking at a holistic solution to address affordability and the quality of life in Hawaii. Finally, let's get the record straight. The state has supported the renewable energy industry since 1976. That's 50 years, half a century of support. Just between 2013 and 2023, data from the Department of Taxation shows that over $1 billion in tax credits were claimed by the solar industry. $1 billion in a state subsidy for one industry. We helped start the transition of renewable clean energy, and now Hawaii has the highest per capita rate of rooftop solar adoption in the United States. That is what a tax credit should do: get an industry off the ground, spark innovation, and expand access. But a good business model should not rely on endless state subsidies to survive. The tax credit is long overdue for reform. SB 3125 proposes much-needed reforms to bring the credit in line with the Senate's goals of helping working families. The reforms to the renewable energy technology tax credit includes a cap of $40 million for 2027, 2028, 2029, and 2030, and a limit on who can file for the tax credit based on adjusted gross income. For joint filers, this limit is $350,000, and for single filers, this limit is $175,000. Based on data from the Department of Taxation, about $40 million was used by households in this income range, in line with their prioritization for preserving income tax breaks for those households. This tax credit should also prioritize those same households. The sunset in this measure allows the legislature to continue to review the tax credit and make necessary adjustments. Continued subsidies for the solar industry cannot come at the expense of tax relief for working families. While not in this bill, the budget also includes an additional $10 million to the Green Infrastructure Revolving Fund to provide low interest, or in some cases, forgivable loans to our working and middle income households who want to install solar. This provides another option beyond the tax credit, especially valuable for those who do not have the money to pay for solar upfront. SB 3125 SD2 represents meaningful tax relief for Hawaii's working and middle income families, upholding the promise that the Senate has maintained throughout this session. With rising costs in our state, Hawaii's families need more money in their pockets now more than ever. This bill proves that Hawaii can manage fiscal uncertainty and maintain core programs without increasing taxes on residents. By preserving tax relief, balancing fiscal challenges, and reforming business tax credits to ensure accountability, we reaffirm a simple principle. Hawaii's tax system should work for people who live and work here, not against them. I urge my colleagues to vote in support of SB 3125 CD2. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator De La Cruz, to you and your staff, Vice Chair and Committee for the hard work. Further discussion? Senator Favela.
Thank you, Senate President. First of all, I want to thank the WAM Chair and Vice Chair, also you, Senate President, Vice President, and all my colleagues of thinking of the working families in Hawaii.
In support, Senator Favela. Please proceed.
Sorry, forgive me. Forgive me for my wrongness. In strong support, Senate President.
Please proceed.
Like I said, when we first came in, we had the uncertainty of the changes of not being able to do tax breaks and continue to keep our word to the people of Hawaii. And through the hard work of Senator De La Cruz and his staff going forward, we had done something that I think everybody can be happy together in this chamber and in the state of Hawaii. I said that the other day on the hard work of not only of our colleagues here on the floor, but Senate De La Cruz staff and the commitment that they made to the people of Hawaii. A lot of guys, they like to talk smack, they like to talk, not very good things. But the hard work that people in this chamber, all of us here, work together and do well and work for the people of Hawaii. I just hope people appreciate this session on how hard and grueling it was for the decisions that was made today and going forward in the next few years. So I thank everybody here, and again, thank you, Senate President. Mahalo. God bless.
Thank you. Senator DeCourt.
Mr. President, the Senate was not willing to let tax relief for working families collapse under financial pressure.
So you are also in strong support?
I am also in support. You see,
Please
rubbing off on me. Strong support. Thank you so much. Okay. That is exactly why this measure exists. As federal cuts began impacting long-term programs and services that many of our communities, especially my community, rely on to stay afloat, the state faced growing financial pressure, and almost immediately, the administration began publicly discussing the repeal of Act 46 and rolling back the tax relief promised to local families in 2024. And if the Senate did not step in, these tax cuts would have been gone. Act 46 recognized what families across Hawaii already knew, that the cost of living is crushing working people, and that government needed to stop taking so much from families already struggling to get by. The Senate believed in that mission then, and we believe it now. The Senate didn't only preserve Act 46, it enhanced it. As example, in 2027, annual income earners between roughly $28,000 to $48,000, that is very much a reality in Waianae, will be taxed even at a lower rate. And that rate will get better year after year. That means families get to keep more of their paycheck throughout the year, not just during tax season. And for communities like Waianae, that matters. We're not asking for luxury, we're asking for breathing room. This bill recognizes that reality. That is the difference between Act 46 and SB 3125 CD2. Act 46 started the conversation, SB 3125 CD2 secures it. And I want to close by recognizing the chair of Ways and Means Committee and its members for standing firm on this issue. Because in the face of pressure and compromise, the easy thing would have been to scale back relief for working families. But the chair of Ways and Means did not back down. He fought to protect the promise made to local families that when times get hard, working people should not be the ones to sacrifice. And anyone who watched those committee hearings could see it for themselves. There was no backroom deals. There was no private conversations behind closed doors. It was one of the most public and transparent displays of democracy this building has seen in a very long time. And for that, I believe the people of Hawaii are thankful. Because at the end of the day, this bill is not about politics. It is about what I believe we all got elected for, to protect working families and make sure local people could keep more of what they earn. Mahalo.
Thank you. Further discussion, Senator Wakai.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of this measure.
Please proceed.
I think the most important thing for the public to take away from this bill is that the Senate fulfilled its promise. I mean, 2 years ago, we promised the people of Hawaii the most historic tax break in Hawaii history. Unfortunately, they had the administration, we had the House, they wanted to renege on that. But kudos to the senator from Wahiawa who really stayed true to what we promised the public. So I would like to also adopt the words of the senator from Wahiawa as if they were my own.
So ordered. Senator McKelvey.
Thank you, Mr. President. In support, obviously.
Please proceed.
But given the lively exchange my good friend from Hawaii and I had on this bill in the first iteration, I'd like to close the circle and adopt her words as if they were my own to show unity and bipartisanship of your state Senate. Thank you very much.
So ordered. Further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
24 ayes.
Thank you. SB 3125 CD2 passes final reading.
Mr. President,
Senator Rhodes.
before we go to the next bill, may I be permitted 3 additional introductions?
Please proceed.
Thank you. 3 more attorneys that worked for me over the years are here today. Teddy Brokaw, Moya Gray, and Ryan Hugh, I believe. Please stand and be recognized. Ryan, I don't know, maybe you already left. Oh, there he is. Thank you very much.
Madam Clerk.
Final reading of House Bill 2275, Conference Draft 2, relating to funding adjustments for state programs.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
24 ayes.
Thank you. HB 2275 CD2 passes final reading.
Final reading of House Bill 1753, Conference Draft 2, relating to social media.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
24 ayes.
Thank you. HB 1753 CD2 passes final reading.
On page 44, final reading of Senate Bill 2471, Conference Draft 2, relating to the powers of artificial persons.
Is there any discussion? Senator Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. President. In support.
Please proceed.
First, I want to thank the chair of the Consumer Protection Committee for all his hard work on this bill. If I had been lead chair about a week and a half ago, I'm pretty sure I would have said, the House and Senate positions are just so far apart, this might need to be taken up next year. He didn't, and continued to work to try to work out areas of disagreement right up to the floor amendment we adopted Wednesday. I've been lucky during my time here at the Capitol that I've gotten to work on a number of interesting high-profile issues. When I was staff for then Representative Marilyn Lee, it was her bill, HB 1309, that provided the first funding for rail. I was in the thick of reforming our pension system to be sure it could pay our retirees when I was labor chair in the House. I was the lead chair in the House when we passed same-sex marriage in 2013. I was JDC chair when we adopted our current mail-in voting system. All of these issues had statewide implications and affected many Hawaii residents' lives. This bill has national implications. In 2010, the United States Supreme Court ruled in Citizens United versus the Federal Election Commission that super PACs could raise and spend unlimited amounts of corporate money as long as they did not coordinate their efforts with the candidates' own committees. This resulted in not only a tremendous increase in corporate spending to influence campaigns, it also resulted in huge increases in dark money, money given by anonymous donors. In 2006, dark money was less than $5 million nationwide. In 2024, there was over $1 billion with a B anonymously spent in the presidential election alone. This anonymity also invites interference from foreign countries. Because we don't know who is giving it, it's very difficult to know whether Russia or Iran or China are funneling money into American elections. From the very beginning, Hawaii has been in the forefront of opposition to the Citizens United decision. In April 2010, just a few months after the decision came down, House Concurrent Resolution 282 passed both houses of the legislature. It called on Congress to propose a constitutional amendment to overturn Citizens United. Despite our best efforts over the years, Citizens United has not been overturned. SB 2471 is the first bill we have considered in the last 16 years that gives us a fighting chance to undo at least some of the damage caused by Citizens United. As many of you know, corporations and other artificial persons are creatures of states. States grant powers to these entities in return for playing by the rules the states lay down. They receive important benefits, including perpetual existence, tax benefits not available to actual persons, and probably most importantly, limited liabilities for shareholders. For decades, most states, to be competitive with other states, have given artificial entities the same power as humans. Essentially, they are granted the power to do anything a human can do. But states have always maintained the ability to change the terms of the bargain between states and the artificial entities. They've also maintained the ability to eliminate corporations altogether. Please don't misunderstand me. I don't think that we should get rid of these artificial entities. They are a useful legal construct. But because of Citizens United and the really good bargain artificial entities get from states, there has always been the risk that these creatures of state law would become so strong that they would one day turn on their creators. That day is here. When corporations have the financial capacity to spend $2 million on a Honolulu mayor's race or $300,000 on a state senate race, they can, with few exceptions, spend more than the candidates' own committees can. They are more powerful than all but the most influential in state and county government. Combined with nearly unlimited resources for lobbying, this enormous influence on campaigns can result in policies that favor the interests of corporations and other artificial entities above those of actual people. There's a phrase for this. It's called industry capture. Another benefit that Hawaii has long given its corporations and other artificial entities is statutory protection that out-of-state corporations cannot exercise power that Hawaii corporations or other artificial entities do not have. For a regular for-profit corporation, this provision is in HRS section 414-435, a section that has been around since at least 2016 years before Citizens United. For years, this provision has not mattered much because all states grant roughly the same powers to their corporations. If we pass SB 2471, this provision will be very important. SB 2471 removes the power of Hawaii corporations to spend for the purpose of influencing political races. This means Hawaii corporations won't be able to spend money on political campaigns in Hawaii, and it also means they won't be able to spend money in other states where they're doing business either. They will no longer be granted that power by the state. It also means that out-of-state corporations won't be able to spend money on political campaigns in Hawaii, even if their state doesn't restrict corporate spending on campaigns. Hawaii is not afraid to be the first in the nation. In 1974, we passed the Prepaid Health Care Act. Because of that bill, Hawaii has been in the top 2 or 3 in health care coverage for 50 years. Partly as a result of that first in the nation law, we are one of the healthiest states in the country, too. More recently, we were the first to ban smoking by 18 to 20-year-olds. Many other states have wisely followed suit. Today we have a chance to be first again. First, to limit the amount of dark money pouring into the American political system. First, to increase the transparency of our political fundraising. First, to have a meaningful chance to limit the wrongly decided Citizens United case. I urge my colleagues to support SB 2471. Mahalo.
Thank you. Further discussion, Senator Keohokalole.
Thank you, Mr. President. Also in support.
Please proceed.
Thank you. As noted by the Judiciary Chair, and I thank him for his diligent work on this, this bill reverses Citizens United, the notorious 2010 Supreme Court decision that says corporations have the right to spend unlimited amounts of money to influence our elections. It said basically that corporations have rights, not powers. I'm going to talk about that in a minute and why we need this now and why Hawaii can and should be the first state in the country to do this. But I'd just like to note that for the entirety of the passage of time since that 2010 decision, opposition to that ruling has consistently stayed at 75% of the public in multiple polls over the last 16 years, and that's across the political spectrum. That's Republicans, Independents, and Democrats. 75% of the public oppose that ruling. So I'm going to come back to the rights part. Our rights as individual people don't come from the government or the Constitution. As Thomas Jefferson said, all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. So what does that mean? It means that our individual rights to speak, to have privacy, to worship, they are God-given. They pre-exist the government. The government doesn't grant us rights, they recognize and protect them. That's what the Constitution does. It guarantees the rights that we already have as human beings. Colleagues, corporate powers are totally different. They are created by state law, specifically Hawaii Revised Statutes, Chapter 414. And as Chief Justice John Marshall said in 1819, a corporation is an artificial being. It possesses only those properties which the charter of its creation confers upon it. The charter that exists in Hawaii Revised Statutes, Chapter 414. An artificial being, this whole idea of corporations being people as a legal concept, it evolved over time out of convenience so that commerce could happen, so that we could have functional contracts and those things could be honored. So what the state creates, the state can define. And we have. The Hawaii State Constitution in Article 1, Section 21 is explicit. The power of the state to act in the general welfare shall never be impaired. Never be impaired by the making of any irrevocable grant of special privileges or immunities. So this bill restates what our Constitution already recognizes. The creation of a corporation is a privilege granted by the state, not a natural right. When a business chooses to incorporate, as the Judiciary Chair said, it's afforded extraordinary privileges in return for operating within the rules the state sets. And those privileges are significant. Like he said before, limited liability, shielding founders and investors if the company causes harm, perpetual existence, and structural tax advantages that no person can access. According to the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy, at least 88 of the largest corporations in the United States paid zero federal income tax in 2025, despite collectively reporting billions in profits. Tesla reported nearly $5.7 billion in US income while paying zero federal income tax last year. So again, the state cannot rescind the natural rights of human beings, but it absolutely can define and limit the tremendously lucrative privileges it confers on entities that it creates under the law. So those are not the same things, and they were never meant to be. And it's time for guardrails. As the chair just mentioned, Super PACs spent a record $2.7 billion in the 2024 election. That is not an exercise of natural rights. It's a perversion of state-conferred corporate privilege to purchase political outcomes. And the founders saw this coming when they outlined this in the Constitution. Thomas Jefferson, in a letter in 1816, wrote, "I hope we shall crush in its birth the aristocracy of our moneyed corporations, which dare already to challenge our government and bid defiance to the laws of our country." James Madison, the father of the Constitution in 1827, called incorporated companies, at best, a necessary evil only, requiring proper limits and guards. So again, as the chair noted, Hawaii has a long history of corporations overruling the will of the people. The overthrow of the Hawaiian Kingdom in 1893 was organized and executed by the sugar companies. The Big Five ruled Hawaii for 50 years before the people ultimately rose up, ran for office, and took over this legislature. And after they did, the people lobbied for statehood, for workers' rights, for healthcare, for environment, and for our families, for things that human beings need and care about. So as elected leaders, we do not serve artificial entities, we serve the people. And now's the time for us to step up again and be the first state in the nation to act for them. Please vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? If not, do we have, Senator Ihara?
Mr. President, I rise in support of Senate Bill 2471.
Please proceed.
Mr. President, I remember 1978 and the Constitutional Convention held that year. We, at the Constitutional Convention and outside the convention, were concerned about how Congress and state legislatures around the country tended to act more consistent with their large donors, campaign donors, than the fragmented voting population. That's why the Constitutional Convention proposed an amendment that mandated the legislature establish a program of partial public funding of elections. The Constitutional Convention wanted to create a safe space for elected officials from the dominance of corporate campaign influence. Mr. President, that's why I support Senate Bill 2471.
Thank you. Further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
24 ayes.
Thank you. SB 2471, CD2 passes final reading.
Final reading of Senate Bill 2069, Conference Draft 2, relating to the Dwelling Unit Revolving Fund.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
24 ayes.
Thank you. SB 2069, CD2 passes final reading.
Final reading of House Bill 1334, Conference Draft 2, relating to meat donation.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
24 ayes.
Thank you. HB 1334, CD2 passes final reading.
Final reading of Senate Bill 2169, Conference Draft 2, relating to the Agribusiness Development Corporation.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
24 ayes.
Thank you. SB 2169, CD2 passes final reading.
On page 45, final reading of House Bill 1823, Conference Draft 2, relating to the Coastal Zone Management Act.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No votes, Senator
Mr. President, with
McKelvey,
reservations,
Senator
please.
Elefante? I didn't.
Sorry, Mr. President, with reservations.
Reservations for Senator Elefante, no vote, Senator McKelvey.
23 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. HB 1823, CD2 passes final reading.
Final reading of Senate Bill 2401, Conference Draft 2, relating to regional shoreline mitigation districts.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
24 ayes.
Thank you. SB 2401, CD2 passes final reading.
Final reading of Senate Bill 3203, Conference Draft 1, relating to air medical services.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
24 ayes.
Thank you. SB 3203, CD1 passes final reading.
Conference Committee Report Number 240, final reading of Senate Bill 3263, Conference Draft 1, relating to the University of Hawaii.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Senator Keohokalole.
In support.
Please proceed.
The game should be left on the field. In support.
Further discussion? Senator Dela Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. President. In opposition.
Please proceed.
I just want to read a letter from the Vice President of Budget and Finance from the University of Hawaii. He says, "Aloha chairs," and this is after a meeting that myself, the Fin chair, the higher ed chairs from the House and the Senate met to try to figure out some type of solution. And the solution that was proposed is what he responded to. "Aloha chairs, we appreciate the time and thought you have put into this. However, at this time, we cannot proceed with the current proposal to establish a state-funded endowment for name, image, and likeness funding through UH Athletics, utilizing state general and tuition and fee funds. While the university remains committed to competitiveness of our student athletes, the present framework poses challenges the university cannot overcome. While we share your vision for a robust and competitive athletic program, the university must prioritize its long-term legal and fiscal integrity. We must respectfully request a deferral of this specific proposal until a framework can be developed that aligns all stakeholder interests. Once again, we appreciate the work done to support UH Athletics and look forward to possibly working more on this issue in the future. And I just do want to point out that within their tuition and fee special fund, the university currently has at least $411 million in that fund. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, I believe that the indication is unclear, so let's do this the easy way and call the roll.
Senator Awa. Senator Chang. Senator DeCoit. Senator DeCourt.
No.
Senator Dela Cruz.
No.
Senator Elefante.
No.
Senator Favela.
No.
Senator Fukunaga. Senator Gabbard. Senator Hashimoto.
No.
Senator Ihara.
Aye.
Senator Inoue.
No.
Senator Kanuha.
Aye.
Senator Keohokalole.
Aye.
Senator Kidani. Senator Kim. Senator Lamasao.
No.
Senator Lee. Senator Moriwaki. Senator Rhodes. Senator Richards. Senator Wakai. Mr. President.
Aye. Senate Bill 3263, Conference Draft 1, fails.
Miscellaneous business, reconsideration of disagreement to House amendments, motions to agree, and final adoption.
Senator Lee.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate reconsider its previous action in disagreeing to the amendments made by the House to SCRs number 58, SD1, and 159 SD1, and move to agree to said amendments.
Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Senator Lee.
Thank you, Mr. President. The amendments made to these measures were slight improvements, but kept the focus of the measures.
Is there any further discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. Final adoption of, Madam Clerk.
Final adoption of Senate concurrent resolution numbers 58 House Draft 1 and 159 House Draft 2.
Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, I second the motion.
This is the one
Actually, I'm
that
sorry. I
you're
move for the
making.
final adoption of said Senate concurrent resolutions. My apologies.
Senator DeCourt.
That's my job. Thank you. Second, Mr. President.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion, any objections? If not, the motion is carried. Said Senate concurrent resolutions have been adopted.
On page 47, Senate concurrent resolution numbers 166, Senate Draft 1, and 172, Senate Draft 1.
Senator Keohokalole.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate reconsider its previous action in disagreeing to the amendments made by the House to SCR numbers 166 SD1 and 172 SD1 and agree to said amendments.
Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Senator Keohokalole.
Yeah, upon consideration of the House amendments, we'll agree. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. Madam Clerk.
Final adoption of Senate concurrent resolution numbers 166, House Draft 1, and 172, House Draft 1.
Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, I move for the final adoption of said concurrent resolutions.
Senator DeCourt.
Mr. President, I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. Said concurrent resolutions have been adopted.
On page 48,
Senator Rhodes,
Sorry, Mr. President, I have one further introduction, if you don't mind.
please proceed.
I also want to introduce Claire Ronquillo, I believe is still here, who used to be a committee clerk for me and has worked in my office for several sessions. Thank you for being here and welcome to the Senate. Mahalo.
Madam Clerk.
on page 48, miscellaneous business, usual and customary resolutions, Senate Resolution numbers 193 to 195 for adoption.
Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, I move for the adoption of Senate Resolutions number 193 to 195.
Senator DeCourt.
Mr. President, I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. Said Senate resolutions have been adopted.
We have no further business, Mr. President.
I will quickly ask before asking for announcements. Did the House adjourn? Do we know? Okay, please proceed. Any announcements? Senator Kehoe-Kalole.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is my honor, and Mr. President, colleagues, and honored guests, it is my honor to recognize Senator Carl Allen Rhodes for his decades of dedicated public service. And his last, thank you, yes. And his lasting contributions to the state of Hawaii. Senator Rhodes built a strong foundation through his academic achievements, first earning a bachelor's degree at Andrews University, a master's at the University of London, and a law degree at George Washington University before beginning his legislative career in 2006 as a member of the lower Hawaii State House of Representatives. During his 10 years serving District 29, he became known not only for his thoughtful leadership and legislative accomplishments, but also for his deep commitment to the community through organizations such as the Chinatown Citizens Patrol and the Downtown Neighborhood Board. His dedication to justice, equity, environmental stewardship, and public service earned him numerous honors and reflected the compassion and integrity that would define his career. In 2016, Senator Rhodes was elected to the Hawaii State Senate, where he served with distinction as chair of the Senate Committee on Waterland and later as chair of the Senate Committee on Judiciary, overseeing the confirmation of 70 state court judges and justices. Throughout his career, he remained a steadfast advocate for marginalized communities and consistently worked to advance legislation that strengthened and protected the people of Hawaii. Beyond his policy achievements, Senator Rhodes leaves behind a legacy of mentorship and inspiration, encouraging many of his staff members, many of which are here, out of loyalty and love for him, to pursue careers in law and public service. His leadership, humility, and unwavering dedication have made a profound impact on our state and its people. So I was granted the privilege of presenting this congratulatory tribute and certificate to him. I just want to note personally, what I'm going to remember Carl is watching the Laker game in my office in between hearings and going to a baseball game in Nashville with Gil Keith Agaran and you, minor league baseball game when we were at the National Conference of State Legislatures and just hanging out. What you see on the mic and in the committee with Carl Rhodes is what you see in the offices or at the baseball games. He's unflappably cool and independent. And I've always admired and tried to shoot for those qualities, falling short often. He's also unwaveringly progressive, and I always used to get a kick over no matter how hard he tried to convince us that he was not the most progressive person in the Senate. Nobody ever believed him. And so there's a new competition because we'll have to replace that energy. But you deserve to be acknowledged for your years of service, 2 decades of service to the people of Hawaii. It was an honor to serve as your vice chair for 3 years. I saw you stand in there and deal with the hardest issues, the most complicated and difficult decisions for victims, for people who were having a hard time and didn't have an advocate for them, and you did it in the chair, in the seat of power, and it's just truly admirable. And everyone here owes you a debt of gratitude for so many years of service. So thank you very much for serving. It's been an honor to serve with you. How about another round of applause for Carl Rhodes?
Now, I have several other members who have requested to speak. I don't know if there are others. We're going to hear from Senator Rhodes. We have 2 others that we're going to be recognizing, but I have been informed that the House has concluded and they are at the gates to come in. So I'm going to call for a short recess so that we can gather in the circle and ask those in the gallery who still remain to join us as we will close with the traditional Hawaii aloha. Recess. Will the Senate please come back into order? We are recognizing and congratulating Senator Rhodes as he goes off into his retirement. I'd next like to call on Senator Gabbard.
Yes, Mr. President, colleagues, staff, and guests, I rise today as Vice Chair of the Judiciary Committee to share a few words about my friend and colleague, Senator Carl Rhodes. Carl has given nearly 2 decades of his life to public service here at the legislature, as was mentioned, and that kind of service does not go unnoticed. Since 2024, I've had the privilege of serving as the JDC Vice Chair under Carl, and sitting next to him in committee day in and day out, you really get to see how he works and how he carries himself. Throughout all those years, he's been steady, thoughtful, smart, fair, respectful, and whether people agreed with him or not, everybody knew Carl came prepared and he did his homework. As Chair of Judiciary, he handled some of the toughest and most controversial issues that came through this Capitol. He never ran away from hard conversations. He believed deeply in accountability, transparency, and doing what he thought was right for Hawaii. But for me, personally, what I'll remember most is not just the work, it's the friendship. So aloha, Carl, best wishes to you and the missus. Wishing you all the best in whatever life throws at you. And I have a very special pack, a 4-pack of toffee. It's what we in Samoa call a mealofa, a gift of love. Ahui ho.
Senator Rhodes, I hope that given the length and the heat of the debate sometimes in the chamber today, that the candy is not melted. Senator Chang.
Thank you, Mr. President. There were only 2 of us in the class of 2016 here in the Senate, Senator Rhodes and me. We were very different in many ways. He was tall, vegetarian, mainland Haole, who served many years in the House and had long relationships in the legislature, married to someone else who knew the system well. I was single, much shorter, Chinese, who'd served on the city council and had barely even been in this building, and still am an enthusiastic omnivore. Politics can be a tough business. I quickly learned here that there are many reasons someone might kill a bill, very few of which had to do with the merits, and even more ways to kill a bill. I learned that people often had unspoken agendas or might even lie to your face. We all deal with the reality that egos, inertia, or simple laziness can derail truly beneficial ideas that would improve people's lives. But I also learned that Senator Rhodes was not one of those people. If I had a question, he would always give me a straight answer. If he voted no, it was always on the merits of a bill. If he spoke up, it was always due to a genuine concern after he'd read all the testimony and researched the issue, and not just a grandstand. One area where we found a lot of common ground was on urban planning and housing issues, because he represented one of the most heavily urbanized districts in the state, and I was the chair of the Housing Committee. Though he rarely took credit, I saw more than once where he made the difference on the inside in making a project or a bill go. When we disagreed, I knew we could discuss my concerns in an open way, and he would do his best to address them, or if not, he'd be totally open about why not. When he held a position that the caucus disagreed with, he never tried to twist arms or whip votes, but he truly let everyone vote their consciences. I never saw him hold a grudge or be the subject of the drama that surrounds the building, especially during conference. For the last 10 years, I've been able to count on Senator Rhodes for a thoughtful, careful, detail-oriented perspective on any issue. After he leaves the Senate, hearings will still happen, committee reports will still get decked, nominees will continue to face scrutiny, bills will still pass. But it won't quite be the same without one of the most honorable, diligent, hardworking, and humble members of our body. Thank you, Senator Rhodes, for your service to the people of Hawaii.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Senator Lee?
Thank you, Mr. President. I was really excited that we came back into session and we weren't actually adjourning a minute ago, because there would be a story that would just be absolutely lost to time about Senator Rhodes, who's been such a great colleague. Those late nights that we are stuck here waiting, signing committee reports as things go on, I've had the great fortune to spend a few with Carl. And one of the more recent ones was with a few other friends, and we got together and we thought, what are we going to do? Well, we can play some board games. And so a few of our friends had brought some board games that they got from home, from the store. And Carl brought something that was very interesting. It was, I think, in a plastic bag, pulled out these things that looked like they were hand-drawn about 75 years ago, and unfolded this little map and explained to us the rules of this game, which was all about politics and elections. Come to find out, that game, which was amazingly fun, by the way, was something that Carl had created himself back in 7th grade. And that was the actual game that we were playing, that he's had all these years, and he's been waiting all that time to find people to play with again. So he was so excited that we were willing to stand up. You know, those moments I will cherish forever. But more than that, having served with Carl, my entire career, both in the House and now in the Senate, has been just remarkable. And serving across from each other when we were both House and Senate Judiciary chairs was perhaps the most fun in conference, because while I think everyone around us was scurrying, wondering, are they going to agree on this or that? We had already agreed on everything. And it just made it such a fun experience. And I really want to credit Carl, because perhaps more than anyone, and some of the other speakers had mentioned this, Carl has probably shaped democracy and elections and the fundamental structure of campaigns and how we do things here in Hawaii more than anyone else, I think for the better. And that's something that is nothing to sneeze at, given, I think, the state of the world these days. But here in Hawaii, you know, we have elected democracy that is strong and robust because of Carl. And I think that's something that will live far beyond any of our time here. And so I have two questions for Carl as we close out. The first being, really, what's next? And we hope to see you back again. I hope to be able to keep in touch. The second question is, which board or commission are you going to serve on next year that we can confirm you to? And or, if there's interest, I have spots in my office for ledge session staff. I'm going to miss you so much, but really appreciate the time we've shared and all the contributions you've made, not only to Hawaii, but certainly to my time here and the person that I've become. So thank you.
Senator Elefante.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise on a point of personal privilege to speak
proceed.
on behalf of Carl Rhodes, the senator from downtown Chinatown. And I'll share a brief few stories. And the first story I'll share is we were attending an event at the Pagoda Hotel, and Senator Rhodes showed up in a traditional, fashionable Barong Tagalog. And on top of that, he took Fossey's limo, the city bus, to this Filipino event. And as a member of the Filipino caucus and as someone of Filipino ancestry, I really admired Carl for just how he embraced not only that culture, but every single issue. Aside from him probably having the same amount of Barong Tagalogs as I might have, which is very impressive, I'll just say that, I've learned a lot from him, from his leadership, from his mentorship. And when I first walked into this building, 4 years ago, I served on the Judiciary Committee with Senator Rhodes, and he taught me a lot. And you could see it in his values, his ethics, and what the senator from Kanyohe mentioned is what you see here on the floor is what you see also behind closed doors. He's a true man of integrity, stands for his principles, but more importantly, he's not afraid to do what is right, even if it means sticking out and just being the only one in the face of headwinds, even if it's against the odds on a national level. We're truly going to miss you, Senator Rhodes, but I know I'll see you at the next Filipino event in your Barong Tagalog.
Senator McKelvey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to rise on a point of personal privilege.
Please proceed.
And I don't mean to speak to add on to us, but I feel like I need to speak because he and I came into this crazy legislature the same time in 2006. What was then the largest freshman class in the House of Representatives in over 20 years. And through that all, I've seen this man. We were there through all of it. Super Ferry, marriage equality, the crisis of the 2010. And through all of that, this guy has remained remarkably unflappable. I thank you, Mr. President, for your wisdom, or perhaps not, in putting me next to the good senator this year. You've seen us having quite good levity on very serious issues, making fun of our good friend here from Kaneohe here and then. But through all of this, what I really liked about Carl, and you can't say it enough, is you may not agree with him. You may actually have some very pointed discussions, but you know what? He never held grudges. He always found a way to appreciate what you were saying. And he always found a way, in a committee where divisiveness is the coin of the realm, to bring people together. And that is something that will be missed more than anything in this building. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. It's been since 2006, 20 years. And you are going to be missed in so many ways, my friend. But the legacy you leave will be felt far beyond our years. Thank you.
Clearly, I'm not as clever as I thought. You did realize he's babysitting you. Anyone else? Otherwise, Senator Rhodes?
Well, thank you so much, all of you who stood up and spoke. And I'm not sure I appreciate all the stories being made public about the games and stuff, but that did really happen. My teacher that. When I was in about 5th grade, he was very political, and it was the year that, it was 1976, so it was the year that Watergate had just ended, and Jimmy Carter was running for president, and we had an election in the school. It wasn't a very big school, and I'm sorry. It must have been 1980 because I didn't support Jimmy Carter, which is like one of the stupidest things I've ever done in my life. But I managed to get. And this is in Indiana, so of course everybody's wildly conservative, even the kids. And I managed to Eugene McCarthy. I don't know if any of you remember Eugene McCarthy, but he was this anti-Vietnam War radical, and I managed to convince everybody. Well, it didn't quite make it, which has often been my tale here in the legislature. I didn't quite make it. I'm always on the back end of the 13-12 votes. But Gerald Ford came in first, and Eugene McCarthy came in second, and that was how my political career got started. Was trying to convince my classmates in Bloomington, Indiana, that they should vote for somebody they'd never heard of. And my argument was that, well, you don't know who Gerald Ford is either. And they're all like, oh yeah, I guess we don't, so we'll vote for you. It's been an honor and a privilege to be here for 20 years. If you had told me when I was in high school in Indiana that I was going to be in any legislature anywhere in the world, I would have probably laughed. But if you told me I was going to be a state senator and a member of the House of Representatives for 20 years in Hawaii, where I had never even been before at that time and I had no idea I'd ever be here, I probably would have laughed, but if I'd taken you seriously, I would have been like, wow, that's a pretty cool way to go. Being a senator in Hawaii for 10 years and a member of the House, I beyond my wildest aspirations as a politico, and it's been an honor and a privilege. I know we haven't always agreed on everything, but what my experience has been that Hawaii is, if you have the right attitude, Hawaii is a remarkably open and the voters are remarkably forgiving, and it's been a privilege to represent, the Howley guy from Chinatown, represent Chinatown and up the valley in Nu'uanu. I take a lot of pride in the fact that my district is, at least the old one, I don't know about after redistricting, but the old one, which isn't that much different, is the second least Howley district in the state. So that to me says a lot about the voters of Hawaii. If you work hard, try to do the right thing, you don't even have to do the right thing all the time, you just have to try, and people will support you, and that's been my experience. And I just want to say that the least Howley district in the state was my next door neighbor, Senator Kim, which I did represent part of that district for a while as well. So hearing you talk, I wanted to cry, but in the back of my head I was hearing Councilmember Nishimoto going, Rhodes, you got to be the OG. You got to be the OG. You can't be crying when you're leaving the state legislature. So I think I made it. And mahalo nui loa to all of you. And I look forward to seeing you again in the future as our paths cross again. Mahalo.
Just so you know that Senator Kehokalole wasn't being funny when he said most progressive. When I meet with advocates, I am always clear, you need to see Senator Rhodes. He is by far the farthest left in our caucus, and he will embrace your cause. And it's been my pleasure, privilege, and honor to serve with you as well, Senator Rhodes. Next, Senator Kanuha. Yes, please.
My turn now? Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. Mahalo, Mr. President. Today I'm honored to recognize and introduce Ms. Janine Jones, Director of SMA, the Research and Legal Office serving the Senate Majority. Please stand as you're standing and be recognized. For nearly 12 years, Janine has dedicated herself to public service in this body, from her early work as an educator to her career in legislative research and law. She has brought a strong foundation of knowledge, professionalism, and commitment to her role. Since joining SMA in 2015 and ultimately serving as director, she has played an important role in supporting the Senate's work, ensuring deadlines are met, navigating complex legal and policy issues, and helping this body function effectively. In my own experience working with Janine, I've seen her firsthand due diligence, sound judgment, and steadiness under pressure on all the deadlines. My staff and I have truly appreciated her responsiveness, thoughtfulness, and collaborative spirit. Mr. President, I would also like to recognize the SMA team that are here to support Janine that are in the gallery. And if you could please stand and be recognized, we'll clap for all of you at the very end, but appreciate all of your hard work and dedication to this body. Again, Amanda Fife, Effie Steger, Blake Anderson, Megan O'Brien, Renee, Reiko Nomura, Fred Akau, Noah Hulk, Finley Brackey, Gregory Lamontagne, Ann Yamane, Faye Yasutake, Maggie McGrary, Adam Weiss, Amy Vickers, Yuko Funaki, Leilani Sison. I think I got everybody. If I didn't, please stand and also be recognized by our body. Again, another really mahalo for each and every one of you for all of your hard work this session. It was a tough session, and we couldn't have done it without all of you. As Janine concludes her final session and returns to Arizona to be closer to her family, we extend our sincere gratitude for her service to the people of Hawaii and wish her all the best in her next chapter to come. Mr. President, it is my honor to recognize Ms. Janine Jones.
Senator Gabbard.
Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. I rise today to recognize and extend our heartfelt mahalo to Janine Jones for her dedicated service to the Hawaii State Senate and to the people of Hawai'i. As was mentioned, Janine has been with the Senate Majority Resource since 2019, and she's been someone that we could always count on. She's an incredibly fast worker, getting research done and committee reports completed at lightning speed while still being thoughtful and detail-oriented. She's also really smart and always in a good mood, which made even the busiest parts of session a little easier for everyone around her. We're going to miss her, but we're very grateful for all that she's done for the Senate. Janine, mahalo nui loa for everything, and we wish you all the best in the next chapter of your life in Arizona and whatever else that entails. Mahalo. Ahui ho.
Any other announcements with Janine? Otherwise, I would just share that with about 6 weeks before the opening of session, I found out that our attorney had opportunity he couldn't pass up, and he and the number 2 person were leaving. When we looked around and said, what do we do next? Janine, with Amanda, Yuko, and Effie, were called to come up to my office, and I just asked in the most direct way, do you think you can do the job? And the answer was yes. Gave them the opportunity, and while they worked as a team, Janine, being the most senior member, was identified as the leader. And that coincided with you deciding to introduce and move a record number of bills that year. And there were some trials and tribulations in trying to deliver for the members on the level of work that they were putting out there. But ever since that first cross, it's gotten better. And we used to meet every week. This year, we didn't meet at all on a weekly basis because they were running so smoothly. They knew exactly what to do. So Janine and the team behind you, congratulations, best wishes in the next chapter of your life, and thank you for your service here. Now, it brings me great pleasure to know that we normally don't go this long. And Carl and Ben in particular have just been loaded down with lays like graduation, and it's gotta be really hot and really uncomfortable. And Ben, we even sang Hawaii Aloha so that you can't get the lays off. So I'd like to call in Senator Ihara and Ben, if you just step out, please.
Mr. President, as the longest-serving elected official in the Senate, I have a few words of congratulations to about Hawaii's longest-serving Senate Sergeant-at-Arms, Ben Villafort. and for his service for all these years. This is his last legislative session, or at least regular session. And Ben was born in the Philippines, and from age 13, worked on a rubber plantation there, where he found a passion for boxing, started a professional boxing career there at a very early age. I think it was 14, and then moved to Hawaii to expand his boxing career. In April 1972, the World Boxing Association Junior Lightweight Championship title match was held in what's now called the Neil Blaisdell Arena in Honolulu, a couple blocks away. Ben was 19 years old then and won, becoming at that time the youngest person to win a world title. Ben won the title a second time and successfully defended it many times during his world title run. And then Ben was appointed Senate Sergeant at Arms in 1979. And he's served through five of Hawaii's 9 last governors, 47 years, 47 legislative sessions. Ben's been the chief law enforcement and protocol officer of the Senate, tasked with maintaining order in the Senate, and he's done this for almost 5 decades. By the time I arrived in the Senate, we were actually already tamed. He already tamed the Senate. Because we used to, in the House, admire the antics that happened in the Senate. And I understand, so Ben was a legend to me before I even got here. And I had heard and read about the stories about how he had to prevent things from happening, fisticuffs, and had to remove some senators from the floor. I think in 1983, the last day of the session, like today, there was a filibuster by one of our senior senators. And the filibuster ended, and Ben was asked to remove the senator. And he did it. I don't think any blows or punch, right? Okay, so no one would really challenge our Sergeant at Arms. And it's his respect that the senators have for him that has helped to keep the peace in these chambers. These chambers get a little hot sometimes, and it helps to have him here. And a special mahalo to you, Ben. To me, you epitomize the spirit of the law of the splinter paddle, the caring warrior who will do whatever you can that's necessary, protect the vulnerable. And we really appreciate you being here for protecting us. I remember when you protected us outside and had to, I guess, retain somebody for a little while, and we appreciate your willingness to serve like that. We are also honored to welcome the family, your family, friends, and colleagues. They're gathered in the gallery in this your final legislative session, regular session. I wanted to ask them to stand to each be recognized when I call your name. Denise Villaflor. Ben's love. Ernestine Ling Villaflor Miranda. Their children. Also, Benevito Villaflor II. And Benjamin C. Villaflor. And then Ben's grandchildren, Benny III, Savannah Breeze, Phoenix, I'm going to read it right through and we can clap at the end, I guess. Phoenix Dawn, Dulcie Dakota. Where's Dulcie? Angeles Griffon. Benicio Luciano. Bentley Jules. And he has family that arrived from Los Angeles today. Stephen Ricard. Nanette Ricard. Riley Ricard. Shay Ricard. Lehan Ricard. And Nancy Palma. And thank you all for coming from the mainland here. Ben's impact on the Senate is best reflected in the staff team he has led and mentored at the Sergeant at Arms office. And we want to extend welcome to them as well as his family. Thank you. Could you stand to be recognized also? Linda Kahana, Debbie Aki, Doug Arakaki, Sina Kawahilo, Faye Verney, Michelle Lebert, Park Kalewahia. Park is down here. Ali Yasui, Savannah Miranda, Bryson Perry, Layla Chi, Ariana Onigi, Leighton Fong. They're here, right? Paul Reed. Annette White. Gwen Kuahara. And Yashi Duralshar. Did I get that right? Anyway, we welcome all the staff members here today who's part of the office's journey. And we also want to welcome Ben's many friends, including members of Ben's Senate boxing group. Could you stand? And I thought there was another member here that was in the boxing group. Was this Chief Justice? Were you in his boxing group? Yes, okay, thank you. Ben, you taught him well. So welcome, Chief Justice. And also we have Senate employees who are here who has worked with Ben. Could you all stand to be recognized? Thank you all for being here to honor Ben's legacy as he concludes his final session of the Hawaii State Senate. Thank you, Ben.
Senator Kim?
Thank you, Mr. President. I too would like to add some words for Ben Villaflor. So Ben, don't go anywhere. Mr. President, I cannot claim that I have served my entire career with Ben because he actually started in 1979. I didn't get elected until 1982. I didn't know Ben. I knew of Ben because my dad was a boxer, and my dad watched all the boxing matches, and he thought that Ben was an extremely, extremely talented boxer. I didn't get to know Ben until I got into the Senate in 2001. And when I got here, I have to admit that sometimes I got a little impatient with Ben because I wanted things done right away. But if you know Ben, he's stable, he's calm, he's hands-on, He's always there, and over the years, I got to appreciate Ben more and more. He's been a fixture around here, and as vice president under President Hanabusa, I was in charge of the permanent staff, and so I got to work a lot closer with Ben as we looked to clean up some of the back offices here in the Senate. He has been someone that we can all count on. Whenever we forgot our keys or whenever we're missing something, who do we call? We called Ben. I also have to acknowledge his wife, Denise, who has been by his side and so supportive of him all these years. And so without her, I don't know that Ben would continue on. But I told Ben, I said, you're not supposed to retire until I retire. So Ben, you're going to be sorely missed. The times that you spent here wasn't just being Sergeant of Arms, but you led the boxing exercise classes that my staff participated in as well. And you've done so much as far as mending and fixing and being a carpenter, grabbing things, doing whatever it is that we needed done. You were always there doing that. And we're going to sorely, sorely miss you. So Ben, much aloha, much appreciation for all that you've done for so many years.
Any Senator Wakai.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was a voracious sports enthusiast when I was growing up, and read back then the Star Advertiser and Bulletin, and always was admiring the boxers of the time. And I look at Ben Villaflor. He was the epitome of the golden age of boxing in Hawaii. And I always wondered, if he was 40 years younger, he would be the Manny Pacquiao of today, and in a far different place than he is today. But we're so lucky in the Senate to have had him and his service for all of those decades. And people have talked about his ability to, keep order here, and toss people out when needed, and be responsive. But, what I will always remember about my 16 years working with Ben Villaflor here in the Senate is his just kindness. I couldn't find a sweeter person to deal with on a regular basis here. He never had a spiteful word. In this place where there's rumors and pettiness, he was never one to get engaged in any of that. He was above that. He was always kind, and you would think with a guy who's spent a career punching people in the face that there'd be kind of a edge to him. But none of that exists. He is like the most sweet person that I've ever worked with here in the state Senate. And Ben, I know that now you will have more time to spend with your family, particularly your grandchildren, and continue to just spread that love of people and that kindness that is just embedded in you, and that we have all benefited from in your decades of service and working with us here. I wish you all the best in your future retirement.
On behalf of the members, thank you. Ben, to your family, thank you for sharing so much of him for such a long time. The class with which you carry yourself, and as Senator Wakai said, your humility and kindness won't be forgotten. Like Senator Kim, in 1972, I would have been middle school maybe, and my dad would fly to Honolulu to watch Ben when he was going to box. And it wasn't routine like today to jump on the plane and fly inter-island back and forth. And we didn't have a lot of money, but my dad found a way to have some money to go to Honolulu to watch you fight. So I was aware of your name, and he would come back raving about your skills. And so it's really been a real treat for me. When I got here, my dad was still living, and he had a chance to meet you, to talk to you as you were a hero for him. And it's been my honor and pleasure to work with you all this time. So nothing but the best in your future, Ben. Any other announcements, Senator Wah?
Personal privilege.
Please proceed.
Mahalo. When it comes to Ben, I only know him 4 years or so. It wasn't mentioned that he has 31 knockouts on record, so just for the record, one more time. Guy knocked out 31 people, and that's the record ones. That's not the ones we don't see. When I first came in 4 years ago, was this corner. Day one of session, I was running in with jeans. I didn't read the dress code policy. I was running in over here, and I park immediately. You know her, she's a hawk. She gets on the mic. Senator Wah's got jeans on. Senator Wah's got jeans on. In comes Ben from that side. I'm coming to my desk, like, I don't even know what that means, Senator Wah's got jeans on. Senator, you cannot have jeans on. Come. So he takes me outside. We go to his office, and he gives me this nice set of black pants. Now, they're Ben size. So, so I put them on, and I make it in. I learned two things that day. Three things. One, the rules, but two, skinny jeans looks pretty good. And Ben is a good brother, because from that day on, man, unlike Senator Kim, when I called for three TVs to be mounted so I could watch all you guys, in my office, Ben did that thing in like 2 shakes. It was so fast. And everything that I've asked Ben to do to set up our office, he was always there. So we really appreciate you, Ben, all that you've done, especially the pants. And I washed the pants, and I went to give it back to him a couple days later. He didn't want it, so. That was my introduction to skinny jeans.
Any other announcements? Senator Rhodes?
I think this is the last one, but I did want to recognize another former session attorney, Malia Tomdinik, up there. She was from the first year I was judge chair back in 2013. Mahalo for being here.
So we're getting close to adjournment, so if any of the former or current Carl Rhodes team is still in the gallery, after adjournment, you are welcome to come down, congratulate him, to get pictures, to Ben and his family when we adjourn, to come down, and certainly to the SMA team. This is normally where I have closing remarks, and I'm looking at the clock and it says 2:30, and I am really, really hungry. And a little disappointed because I thought the Chief Justice came to see me today, only to realize he was here for Ben Villaflor. I'm going to talk about 2 things only, instead of the 20 things that I had listed. I went around this morning and visited every support staff office, and went up to systems and went to the Legislative Reference Bureau, and told each employee just how much I appreciated all of their efforts during this session. And without their contribution, we could not have succeeded, and we would not be at the place we're at today. So I'd be remiss if I didn't tell the 24 colleagues I have sitting in front of me, thank you very much for all of your work and the product that you have produced. I have been through Hurricane Eva in '82, Iniki in '92, 9/11, invasion of Kuwait, recessions, COVID, lava flows, April of 2018, historic rainfall on Kauai. But they have generally been single event catastrophes that we could then plan and go forward. I have never experienced the uncertainty of Washington, D.C. and the support we normally get as we try to plan our budget. And the discussion that we had about preserving and helping the most vulnerable in our community. And it seemed like those goals, or the reality to the goals, were on a collision course. And then Super Bowl weekend, we had a historic storm. and then 2 back-to-back Kona lows. FEMA not funded, where are we going to get the money? Soft tourism economy. And how do we deliver on the promise that we made on opening day to protect the most vulnerable in our community? I don't have to repeat it. Senator De La Cruz did an outstanding job in articulating point by point what it took to deliver on the promise. But I truly appreciate the work that was put in, the thoughtfulness. And more than anything, what I liked about Senator De La Cruz's plan was we need to sacrifice first. And if we're asking for everybody else in this state to step up, then as the government, we need to look at funds that we could use that had not been used, vacant positions that we were funding that could go to help put the money back into the working men and women of Hawaii. And then he laid out some of the painful parts that others would sacrifice, who we think are a little more successful right now, so that we could help, again, the most vulnerable in our community. And between the tax plan and the overall state budget, you know, we have delivered on the commitment. I have never been more proud in the 16 years that I've been here of a product that has been produced by this legislature. And I thank all of you for your efforts to get me feeling so good about going home. The second thing, simply to Senator Rhodes and Keokalole, incredible work. And we are sending a message to the rest of the country. I think the message is see you in court. But we stand ready to stand by the principles that we believe in, and to get to the finish line is an incredible job. And with that first, I'm stopping right here and going to call on Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, colleagues, congratulations on our very memorable session. I move that the State Senate of the 33rd Legislature regular session of 2026 adjourn sine die.
Senator DeCourt. Senator Awa, I'm sorry.
Mahalo. Should have did this a little sooner. I don't have my own closing. We should have closed with what you have. Just rising on personal privilege, if possible. Thank you. Just because, again, this might be the last time I get to do this down here with all of you. So if I could do one more thing. Thank you. By now, you've all seen the video. Let me get this thing going. You've all seen the video of the monk seal that almost got hit by the rock from the tourists who threw it. If you didn't, here it is again. And we've all seen, or some of us have seen, the environmental activists, I like to call them, who took matters into his own hands to educate what might happen if you mess with our land or the animals. And our attorney over here wants to make it clear we don't condone violence. But we did make a letter of recognition for Mr. Ambassador of Aloha. I know everybody's trying to keep him anonymous. And I do just want to say that from our caucus, you know, we see this all the time with people with a different type of mentality coming in and destroying our stuff, essentially, in this case, animals. But we'd like at least the airline to play this type of video on all flights incoming, so people don't do this kind of stuff. I don't want to leave it on a negative note, but I did want to get that out. Mahalo.
I think the positive that we work to continue to educate, and it only underscores the importance of Malama Hawaii and continuing to remind people how you should act as a guest in our home, and you want to be treated like how you would want people to act in your own home. So I think we're going out on a positive note. Senator Awa. Senator De La Cruz.
And I know we all want to leave, but I just want to point out something that I think was not pointed out on behalf of Ben is that he's not just been an example for all of Hawaii, but really made the Filipino community proud. So, Agyamanak, Dios ti agnina, ayaten Ben, ayaten kayo.
Carl, one last chance for announcements. Is any other former staffers want to? If not, the Senate is ready to adjourn sine die. Senator Wakai. Let's try this again.
Okay, take two, or in reference to Ben Villaflor, round two. I move the Senate of the 33rd Legislature regular session of 2026 adjourn sine die.
Senator DeCourt.
Mr. President, I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. If there are no objections from the members, the Senate of the 33rd Legislature regular session of 2026 adjourns sine die.